Hi, I'm so happy you are here. Welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, welcome. And for my regulars, double round of applause for you. I am Sophia from sophial.com, where we do the inner work. No small thing, life-changing stuff here, okay? And where we simplify it. It doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be dark. It doesn't have to be hard. We really simplify it and make it a good experience. And I show you how to do that through self-development, self-love, all the things. And I am so happy that you are here, especially today, because today we are going to talk about the inner glow up and what that really means, how you do it. I want to start by saying that most people who start inner work, right? People are at like rock bottom and they can no longer go on the way that they have been going, right? They can no longer feel the way they're feeling. They can no longer suppress and numb the way they have been. And they are ready to do whatever it takes for things to get better because they know they can't feel the way they've been feeling for any longer. Wherever you're at, if you're seeing this video and you are currently experiencing that, I want you to know you are not alone. I want you to know I have been there. I know how hard that can be and how dark that can be and lonely. Even if you're surrounded by so much love in your life, it can be super lonely. And the guilt that comes with it, because who are you to be this sad or depressed, or when look at all you have, or whatever. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're ready for things to change and shift because you want to invite love into your life, right? This point of the journey, right? You really decide to stop numbing, because let's be real, up until this point you were numbing, right? In one way or another, through food, through alcohol, maybe drugs, maybe, social media, binging social media, binging on food, whatever. There's so many different ways that we numb and never look at our own stuff. And a lot of the time that also includes like bashing other people, because maybe people won't notice how unhappy I am if I point it out in other people. None of this gets you to joy. You're maybe accomplishing what you set out to accomplish, which is to numb and to suppress and to mask all of this so that nobody notices it, but you are still left with it. All day, every day, you are left with this empty feeling inside you that you feel like you need to fill, and you don't know what that is, right? And so you get to the point of where you are really serious, right? Because likely you've gotten here several times before, if not many times before, where you're like, I'm going to do things different. I'm going to stop. And then, the next day or a few days later, you continue on that hamster wheel of numbing, suppressing, shaming, guilting yourself and others, and just being unhappy. And your days may be a struggle, and you don't have to live this way. And you know it. You know it. Deep down, there's got to be more to life. Deep down, there's got to be something better. There has to be a better way, right? And that knowing, that's your truest self, your most authentic self, or your higher self, whatever you want to call it, like telling you that, reminding you that there's a better way, because there is. You wouldn't even be able to conceive of that if that weren't true, right? So let's get that cleared. It is true. There is a better way. And you don't have to continue doing things that you know are bad for you. You know, I'm going to share something besides this lint that just came off my sweater. But I'm going to share something that I think is really valuable. And it's from this book that I read, I don't know, 14 years ago, 15, something, 13, 14 years ago. I don't remember. But when I do, I will put it in the description. Once I first started getting into like just self-help and knowing that there's a better way and seeking that. So the part of the book that I wanted to share with you is about quitting smoking. And at the time, I was a smoker, right? And, you know, if you're a smoker or were a smoker or have any type of addiction, you know your whole life revolves around it. When are you going to get to do it? How many times? And then as you're doing it, you're thinking about the next time you get to do it again. And it's like, it just, you've associated this awful thing that's terrible for you with so much goodness, and your mind believes you, right? And so it's constantly seeking this awful thing that your mind has associated with freedom, peace, joy. For me, it was like freedom, my me time. It was the only time I got to be alone, and it was an excuse that I could use to be alone where nobody interrupted or disrupted or bothered me. Thinking about quitting was like, what am I going to do then? How am I possibly going to feel all the good feelings that this cigarette gives me, or that I thought it gave me, right? Because it's a freaking illusion. If you know something's bad for you and you continue to do it, and even as you're doing it, you're maybe you admit it to yourself, this is bad for me. That's even worse, because you're telling your mind, like, you're willing to do things that are bad to you and you don't even care. I think when you're tricking your mind into thinking this thing is really good for me because look at all the goodness it gives me, it's better than like, I'm self-sabotaging and I'm doing this awful thing to my body and I don't even care because I don't care about me, you know? And either you're consciously giving your body that message or you're subconsciously doing it, right? So, because either way, you know the truth, whether you're admitting it to yourself or not. So, in this book, now this is a long time ago again, but this is the message that I got from it, and this stayed with me, right? And this is the thing that finally made me quit. And it was, if you continue on this path, doing this thing that you know is not good for you, it's not a matter of if it's going to kill you. It's just a matter of when. So now if you attack, like, I'm already getting emotional thinking about it because that's what it did to me the first time I read it too, like beyond. Oh my God, I was like sobbing. And which was so good, which was such a gift, because you need to feel emotion, strong emotion, in order to do something big, right? So this was that for me. And he went on to say, I want you to picture yourself in a hospital bed and all your loved ones coming to say bye to you because you chose to do this horrible thing that did nothing good for you, right? And now they're going to lose you because of it. So, like, sit with that, basically. So there was no way I was going to be okay with that, right? There was no way this thing that made me happy at the time, and I thought I was young and I could do this and I'll quit at another time and blah, 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 all the lies that I was telling myself, and how so many people live such long lives and this doesn't really kill people, it's other things. And I was just telling myself all this BS, right? because I wanted it to be true for me because I so badly wanted to continue doing this really awful, stupid, disgusting thing, right? These are just my opinions. This is where I had to get to never touch this again, right? And so I did. I smoked for 10 years. I was like a heavy smoker. Um And I remember after I quit, so many other people, like, in my little inner circle were quitting because they were like, "Oh, if you could do it, I could do it." But so I quit. I quit and I never looked back. And I think, I know a lot of people quit something and then they pick it up again, and they quit something and then they pick it up again, and they quit a bad habit and then they pick up the habit again. And it's not that they ever really quit it, they just put it on pause. They never meant it. That's what it was. And I know, because not judging or pointing the finger, I know in ways that I've done this in my life, right? Where like I meant it, but not really. I didn't really mean it. But this, for me, I really freaking meant. That image, I couldn't get that image out of my head. Smoking was no longer what it was for me. It was that image that I had of being in a hospital bed and like my family coming to say goodbye to me, like in life, because of this not so great or smart decision. Like, absolutely not. So once I started to realize, like, I can make better decisions for myself and I could do hard things, and they're not going to kill me and I'm going to survive it and it's going to be fine. I started to feel really empowered. And that's what that gives you. That's the cherry on top, because obviously you'll have better health. Then I also downloaded this app, which I'm sure there's apps for like everything now, any like bad habit. Hopefully I'm not 100% on that, but you can do your research. Tag to see, because I was getting like, so every single day to motivate me even further in a positive way, I had this app. I think it was called Quit. And every day it would tell me like another part of me that was like doing better, like what my lungs were looking like and how much closer I was to better health and longevity. I was healing every single day, choosing to stay on this track, which was really, really helpful. So I highly recommend something like that. Either do your own research if there's not an app for that, but I bet there's something out there that'll tell you, maybe even like a 12-step program, with people who are in the same boat, and you encourage each other, whatever it is, an app, actual humans, do what you need to do to support yourself in this, right? And so, yeah, any addiction is real. Anything you're using to not face your stuff is something that you want to at least ease up on for now and eventually quit. Because if you're using it for the wrong reason and you know it, it's time to let it go. Maybe that's something you want to think about, right? So you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm done numbing, right? And then there's like another level where, and this might not be in the same order for you, right? It might be in a different order, but then there's a level of, blaming everybody in your life. Everybody in is the problem except for you, right? Know that feeling well too. And, you would be happy if this one would just take out the trash, and you would be happy if your kids would just listen, and you could finally feel joy every day and wake up in joy if the sun would hit your bedroom window just the right way, right? And we make up these things and we say these things that are just not actually true, because also what you're doing in doing that is giving your power away to all of these people and things, and you don't want to do that. Or it's basically saying like, if you're happy, I'm happy, and if you're good, I'm good, and if you're a good girl, then I'll be happy. And that's just not the way we want to live life. I don't think we find true happiness that way. I think that's a trap, right? And if you're looking for true inner peace and happiness, you're going to find that within you. That's where all of that is. That like missing piece or that feeling of like something's missing, that's what it is. It's your most authentic self. It's connecting with that version of you because it exists. Not only does it exist, it is within you. And that is the thing or the part of you that's been pushing you. Like maybe there's a better way, like whispering in your ear, putting these thoughts in there, like, hey, maybe there's something better that we can do instead of choosing to numb and binge Netflix or scroll and doom scroll all night or until we pass out. Or, maybe we don't gossip and, project our stuff onto other people. Maybe we realize this is not the way. And just because we've been doing it for so long, we can choose to do it differently moving forward. And that's a beautiful thing. You get to do things differently. You want to get to a point where you're fed up with yourself. That's a gift. You want to get there. You want to get there. I often say to my clients, to friends, family, whoever's like in this place, like, good, great. This is actually really good because this is when things start to shift. This is where people often need to get to make changes in their life, real lasting change. The change that transforms you into a better version of yourself that actually does feel joy when they wake up. Maybe not every single day, but they're not going to let the sun not hitting their bedroom the right way bring them down either. Like life is a gift. Life is precious, and we should be present and making the most out of our days, right? And not giving our power away to things outside of us that we have no control over, right? But what we do have control over is ourselves and the choices we make, the habits and the patterns that we make also, right? And if we make them, we can break them and start new and better ones, right? Beneficial ones. So for some of us, it's easier than others. Some people can decide and declare with all of their being that from this day forward, they're going to change this, this, and this, right? And they mean it and they stick to it. Amazing. For some others, they need to really convince themselves. They need a prize at the end of it. They need a reason to work at things. They need a reward. Most of us, a lot of human beings need to be rewarded. Either it's a paycheck at the end of the week of their, of them working, or it's a piece of chocolate cake at Friday night at dinners. Maybe it's a glass of wine every night. That's their reward for, going through the day and whatever. It's important to celebrate yourself, yes. And if you do need to reward yourself, if, a lot of our programming is based on that. So if that's where you're at, great, fine. Find a healthy reward. Find something that's going to benefit you, right? Maybe you buy yourself a piece of jewelry at the end of the month when you've made great progress and you've, continued on this new path that you promised yourself you would go on, and not suppressing and not numbing. And at the end of the month, you go and you buy yourself a nice piece of jewelry. Maybe you take yourself on a weekend getaway. Maybe you go to the spa, whatever it is. Maybe you go do your nails, mani-pedis, you find something that you're interested in. It takes at least 21 days to reprogram a belief, right? And so it takes 21 days to create a habit also, right? So you want to do this. So you push it further and you do the month, right? To ensure. And for some people, it takes even 60 days. Like, think about it. If you've been doing it your whole life, whatever this habit is that you want to stop, whatever this tool is that you use to numb or suppress, the inner work, you want to stay consistent to successfully break this habit that you have, right? Whatever it is that you use to numb or to suppress or project yourself onto other people. So you decide, right? First, it always starts with a decision, and you decide, and maybe you say it in the mirror, or maybe you write it down, or maybe you say it to an accountability partner, someone who you know will hold you to it and check in and make sure you're doing it. Maybe you tell your children. Maybe you just say it out loud for yourself, and that's enough. Whatever it is, that's what you do, right? And you decide and declare that from this day on, you will not do X, Y, and Z, right? And you are choosing to do so much better, and whatever that is, right? Take care of yourself better, be healthier, be happier, find joy, find your inner peace, feel true, authentic, unconditional love for yourself, feel better, feel happy, feel fulfilled, and know that you can and will give that to yourself. If you stick to it, there's only one possibility, and it's that you find that inner peace, you find that joy, and it's all within you. People tend to think it's other people that need to change or be fixed, right? Because it's so much easier to deflect and to point the finger, right? So they think like, oh, it's my spouse. I have to get a divorce. In order for my life to change and get better, like they obviously need to be removed from my life in this way. They can't be in my life every day. I need to get divorced. Maybe you think, it's my job. It's my job. I dislike everybody here. My boss is awful. It's torture coming here every day. This is why my life is so hard. This is why I hate waking up in the mornings. Maybe it's I need to leave the country. The people in this country, like I just don't relate to, and I need to get out of here and live a different life. I don't like the way they live here. Like whatever it is, right? Maybe you think it's your friend group and they're all negative and they all gossip. And in order for you not to do that, you have to change them. And maybe that's true. But before you make any of these really big decisions, before you do any of this, I want you to consider that these things are outside of you, right? And the only thing you really have control over is yourself, right? So before you do any of that, look within. Before you go and you change your life and make these drastic changes. And I'm not saying these things are not looking awful and bad. And I'm sure you have a million reasons why maybe each and every one of these things are a problem. But first, consider that the lenses through which you are seeing everything are because of how you feel with it. To get to the other side of where you are right now, it's to know like, where is the bliss and the peace and the joy? It's on the other side of where you are right now. And so how do we get from here to here? That's what we're trying to do here. So we are no longer pointing the finger and saying who's the problem and why, and trying to convince everybody, even ourselves, that this person's a problem or that person's a problem. Because if we're rejecting ourselves, we are going to reject all the goodness in our life also. So for the time being, I want you to find one good thing about each important thing in your life that you feel, if this changed, you would be happy. If this changed, you would at least have peace. If this changed, your life would transform for the better. Just find one good thing about each of those big things in your life, right? And just focus on that for now. And every time they trigger you or upset you, you are going to think about that one good thing about them, right? Maybe it's two things, even better. Then you think about those two things. You know, if it's your spouse, oh, but I have these children with them. Oh, but they're my life partner. Oh, so many people are alone and I have him or her or whatever. Right? If it's your job, I get a consistent income. I, get all these benefits. I have a reason to get out of bed every day and get ready and put myself together. Whatever it is, find something good about it, right? To get you through while you work on yourself and realize you're eventually you're going to get to the point where you take a hard look in the mirror and realize that is the problem, but it's also the solution. And that moment, I hope you just put your hand on your heart and maybe one hand on your belly and just take deep, conscious breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth and really take in that moment, because that is such a pivotal moment in your inner work, inner glow up journey. Things start to shift and you will feel it and you will see it in your eyes. You will see like a little glimmer of hope, a little light, and you will know, like, I'm just going to focus on this and I'm going to expand this light and I'm going to make it so big and I'm going to bring her or his spark back, right? Because it's not really there anymore. And you get to bring it back. You get to bring it back. You get to reignite it because it's never really fully gone. So exciting. So then from that place, from that beautiful place, that might also seem scary because look, will there be tears on this journey? Yes. Will there be gratitude on this journey? Yes. Will there be, heart opening and like kind of maybe feeling like you're breaking yourself open? Yes. And look, it's also important that you notice how you receive things in your life, how you choose to receive things in your life. Do you believe hustle is necessary? Do you believe hardship is necessary? Maybe even struggle is necessary, or do you believe things come to you easily and with, little effort? Maybe you believe hustle's not necessary, right? So whatever you believe will be true for you. If you choose for things to be easy or easier than they have been, that's available to you. It is what you choose, but you have to get your subconscious mind behind it, right? Because if you've been thinking for a long time, like, oh, everything's a struggle, everything good in this life that I want, like I have to work hard at and struggle for and hustle, then that will continue to be true for you, right? But if you decide that things get to be easier for you, if you decide and if you pray on and ask for the path of least resistance and, an easier flowy path, then that's available to you too. But you decide, right? And anytime it feels, and if you choose that route, and at times it may feel like, wait a minute, this doesn't seem like the path I chose. This seems really, really hard and scary. You bring yourself back. Actually, no, I decided. God and I made a deal. We've already decided, it's already done. And you just bring your mind again behind the path that you have chosen. Things don't get to be hard. Things actually get to be easy. I will be guided on my next steps, and I know I can do this. And I believe in myself, and God's got me, and I've got me, right? I've got this and God's got me is what I say in Fertility Mindset Makeover a lot, and really wire that in. So you continue to bring yourself back, because the old thinking, the old way of thinking and being and reality that you were living in will pop in. And you just bring yourself back to what you've decided that you are experiencing, right? Your new belief. Actually, things get to be simple. And I am guided on my next right step, whatever it is, right? You bring yourself back consistently. And this is how you reprogram. And if you need deeper reprogramming, if you can't seem to get your mind behind this new idea or new belief, then hypnosis is a really great tool for this. And my favorite tool for this, because it's so effortless on your part. You just listen to an audio that gets you into theta brainwave state, where your subconscious mind is front and center and easily suggestible. So if I'm saying in the audio, life gets to be easy for you, opportunities fall on your lap. Doors are always open. Your thoughts are not going to be popping in. Like, that's not true. And it hasn't been true for me up until now. And nobody I know experiences life that way. This is a lie. Like, you're not going to be saying that. In theta state, you accept suggestions easily and reprograms your mind for new beliefs. And this is my preferred way of rewiring, because you can do it as you're falling asleep at night. You can do it while you're sleeping. I have like 30-minute, 15-minute hypnosis audios, 8-hour ones if you want to listen to them all night long. And as you're sleeping, you're literally reprogramming your mind, which to me is like a no-brainer that I do every night. And that is the thing that has reprogrammed my mind to so many better thinking beliefs. My mind doesn't even go where it used to go anymore. My thoughts don't take me there. Do I go negative sometimes? Yeah. We're human, it's going to happen, but I very quickly come back to, wait, actually, that's not what I choose anymore. And then I'm strengthening that new neural pathway, which is the new belief. And then that's the only belief that's going to come up eventually. So I love this work. I love reprogramming the mind for what you want to think, believe, and feel. And it really does change your reality. And this is what I was doing long before I knew I was doing it. We are all doing it. We're just not aware of it in different ways. Like when you're watching a movie, you're in theta state. When you're like really immersed in a show or a movie, like your subconscious, your nervous system literally thinks it's experiencing it, depending on how deep you get into it, And so that's why it's like important to be aware of what you're watching and consuming. It really does matter. Same goes for the music that you listen to. It's reprogramming your mind. It has been, right? Since the beginning of time, this has been going on. This is nothing new. Hypnosis has like a bad rap for some reason. People think it's like it makes you do things you don't want to do, but it's such a powerful tool in making you a better version of yourself, and undoing the brainwashing that has already been done to you, right? You are enough. You are worthy. Like, you're meant to be here. And any thoughts that say anything other than that is brainwashing. It's a lie. Those thoughts were never true. So, yeah, in my opinion, every single person in this world should know that they are enough and they are worthy just because they are. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to be anyone that they're not. They don't have to say the right things. Like, they just can just be. And they are meant to be here. It's not a mistake. It's no easy thing to actually be alive and living in this world. The fact that you made it here is a miracle in and of itself, and you need to know that. So yeah, we reprogram any lie that says otherwise. And why wouldn't we? So, and when you know this about yourself, you see this in other people. You can't give what you don't have, right? You can't give unconditional love if you don't have it for yourself within you, right? But everything you need is within you. So if you're not feeling it for yourself, it's because you're just blocking it. And you may not even be intentionally doing this, but there are beliefs within you that are blocking it. So we uproot those beliefs and we plant new seeds to better beneficial beliefs that then literally change your life. It is no small thing. It just really isn't. So you look in the mirror, you have that beautiful pivotal moment, right? That changes your life. Like we don't realize when like significant moments that are changing our lives until after the moment passes. And when we look back in hindsight, but that's a moment I kind of wish I could go back to and remember and just. So I hope that you are able to gift yourself that and just know, like, wow, this is a really big moment and I am present in this and I am fully conscious and aware of this. And this moment is the moment that my life changes for the better. And you're giving so much power to it too. And so we choose to go in and we go in deep, right? Into the limiting beliefs that have been holding you back, into the lies, right? Into the programming and the conditioning. And all the times that you felt less than, and all the times that your shine was dulled, and all the times that were traumatic and heartbreaking and life changing, and all the times that made you who you became, but not who you actually are to your core, the things that took your spark away. So we don't go back to relive it. We go back to become aware of how we got to where we got. How did you get to this place? I think that's an important part in the inner glow up journey, because getting to the root of it, finding what made you the way that you are, we can go back and we can shift things around and give it a new meaning, right? Because when you're a child, and most things happen from birth to age 7, right? Like your identity is formed in that time. So if you are constantly told belittling things that made you feel not enough, not worthy, maybe you had to do things for your parents or caregivers' attention and love, right? That should have been given freely. But depending on where they were in life and whether or not they were in survival mode and what was going on and how much love they received from their caregivers or parents, like they can't give what they didn't have, right? So we take all that and we make it mean like nothing about you. We don't attach yourself to those things anymore. We detach from all of that and we start attaching to things that we want to believe and know and feel that are true. Like you matter. You were created on purpose. You are here for a reason, for many reasons. And You get to live the life that you want to live. You get to be happy. You get to be fulfilled. You get to enjoy your life. You get to be loved completely and unconditionally. And you give that to yourself first, right? So we don't look for it in the wrong places any longer. And if you're single, I'm especially talking to you. You stop seeking love in places that were never going to give it to you. But when you give these things to yourself, it's so easy to notice it when it's real. And it's so easy to take that path and go on that date or that second date when it's true and authentic and it's for you, because you've made unconditional love so familiar that when you see it, you notice it instead of running away from it because it's unfamiliar and you don't know what he must be lying. How could he possibly, feel these things for you when you don't even feel them for yourself? So we do the inner work so we know authenticity when we see it. We know it in friendship. We notice it in romantic partners. We can love ourselves better. We love our spouses better. We love our children better when we do this. It's never too late. It's such a gift to yourself, and it's just a decision. You just decide and you mean it. And then you take the next steps. And I have courses to do this. I have in all my courses, I guide you through and take you through to a better version of yourself, whether it's a fertile version of yourself and fertile in all areas of your life, and especially in conception, in conceiving your baby and having a healthy, wonderful pregnancy and beyond, which is fertility mindset makeover. And then I have my Healing Hearts course, which is my forgiveness program that really helps you release anything and everything that weighs heavy on your heart and on your mind, because let's be honest, those are like really heavy weights that you're carrying all day, every day. And even when you go to sleep at night, there it is, that really heavy weight of resentment, anger, heartbreak, trauma. And in that course, you release all of that, and I guide you through that. And we do reprogramming in all my courses, right? So where you thought forgiveness wasn't possible, we reprogram your mind to know it's possible. Not only is it possible, but it's inevitable for you because we're literally forming new neural pathways. And all you have to do is continue listening to that and applying the work. And then I have my self-love course, which is called The Greatest Love Story, the one with you and you. And if you're on this inner glow up journey, I highly recommend that one specifically because that one takes you through really learning true self-love and, again, reprogramming your mind for self-love. And I have rapid transformational therapy in there. And so we really get to the root of where you learn that you weren't lovable. And again, we shift that around. We form new beliefs, right? In doing that, beliefs that say things like, you are worthy because you are so lovable just by being yourself. You are free to be your authentic self and be loved. And your people come to you when you do this. The right people for you will be attracted to you like a magnet when you clear these subconscious blocks that are limiting beliefs. And then you just start attracting different people, right? People that see you for who you are and love you for it, right? But first and foremost, we love ourselves for it, because when you can accept and love yourself for who you are, other people will mirror that back to you. And if they are not right now, it's only because you don't have it for yourself. So how can they give you what you don't already have? Like, you're not going to perceive that in anyone else. It's just not the way that it works. So you get to turn it all around and you get to change it all. And it doesn't have to be hard, and it doesn't have to be a struggle, and it doesn't have to be, like the longest journey of your life, though it will be the best journey of your life. Make no mistake, this gets to be your best chapter. And you are so worthy of it, and you are so deserving of it. And if you've come across this video, I would take it as a sign that you are either on this path already, and this will help guide you to your next steps, or you're ready to get on this path. You're ready to get on this inner work journey and really heal from the inside out and know that you are so worthy of your desires and life gets to be good. And you didn't come here to struggle. You struggled enough. You can leave that in the past now. You can just like enjoy life, and you can see the beauty in it. And you get to be that lucky person, because guess what? Those people that look like all good things happen to them and they're just so lucky, and the cards that they were dealt and yada yada, like those are just beliefs that they have in their mind for the most part, that things come to them easily and quickly and effortlessly. And you get to adopt those new beliefs. You get to make them a part of your new belief system. It's a choice, and reprogramming is available. And undoing the programming that's already within you is also available. But you have to want it. You have to want it bad enough, and you have to choose it. And then you just take the next right steps. You take the courses that change your life instead of buying another bag thinking that's going to fulfill you. And instead of like going out to take more pictures because, those likes really do it for you. Like, you do this inner work and you take the time for yourself that nobody else really sees but you. And that's another beautiful part of it. It's an inner journey, and it's a sacred journey. And you get to evolve and grow and heal there and evolve into this beautiful version of yourself that you're not even familiar with anymore. And I'm really excited for you to experience that. So take the journey for you and for me, so I can hear all about it, and so you can shine your light, and it'll be a gift not only to yourself but to the whole world, because the whole world, every person you pass, every person you speak to, it has a ripple, and it's a bigger thing than you even realize. It will have a ripple effect, and in the most beautiful way. If you stay till the end, drop a heart on fire emoji, and all the nice supportive things, like, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend who may need it, and go to my website, Sophia with an F, ELLE.com, and all my courses are there. I have a bunch of free resources too that you can get started on now and start reprogramming and feeling into what that even is, and experience that. But if you really want to take yourself through a journey, my courses are there as well. And my courses take you through you will not be the same from when you started. So, in the best way. Love you. Mean it.